This pandemic is complicated. That is why I am taking my time and due diligence in dissecting this, piece by piece, component by component. Of course, everybody's big villain, big whipping boy, Big Pharma also plays a role in this pandemic. The question is, how did we arrive into Big Pharma? That's because Rockefeller and Carnegie wanted to control the medical industry, just like they monopolized the steel and oil industries. They created a report called the Flexner Report, which gave birth to modern medicine as we know it. You can read the report. Again, very boring, very dry, very academic, but it's public record, it's admitted, it's factual. But in the report, to surmise it, it talked about the need for revamping and centralizing medical institutions. And based on that report, more than half of all medical colleges were soon closed. Before that, you had medical colleges that talked about natural medicine, natural minerals, natural healing processes. But they were mocked and demonized, and doctors were even put in jail in some cases. To help with the transition and to change the minds of a lot of the doctors, Rockefeller gave more than $100 million to colleges and hospitals. And like they always do, under the guise of philanthropy, giving, charity, he created a front group called the General Education Board. And so, in a very short time, like a domino effect, medical colleges all became colleges that learned a system about using patented drugs. And the scientists followed the money. They received grants and they studied how plants cured diseases. They would identify the chemicals in the plants that were effective and then recreate a similar chemical in the lab, but then they patent it. You patent it, you give money to the big pharmaceutical companies. And that's kind of how the system worked. I could go longer, but again, I'm trying to talk about the pandemic, not to give you an entire history lesson. So the question becomes, how does this tie into today? Well, the president, I'm not here to tell you my opinion of politics, I'm just here to give you my interpretation of current events. The president tweeted and talked about in his press conference weeks ago hydroxychloroquine. His tweet was censored. The Brazilian president did something similar. His tweet was censored. Alex Jones talked about it, and he was banned from the Google app. Laura Ingraham and Sean Hannity likewise talked about it, and their tweets were delisted. So the question is, why is hydroxychloroquine being demoted? The New York Times said Trump talked about it because he had stock in a company. I did a little bit of research on that. He had $400 in a company that had a little bit of connection, but hydroxychloroquine has been grandfathered in. Like caffeine, like aspirin, it's been around for years. Actually, you can find quinine, which is the unmedical drug, quinine, which is in tonic water. It's basically hydroxychloroquine. The British Empire used it when they went into India to stop malaria. But you understand that the mainstream media, the New York Times, NBC, the corporations, they are against, because the media is a corporation, they are against hydroxychloroquine because it is not patented. It is grandfathered in, but doctors are prescribing not only hydroxychloroquine, but zinc. Zinc is found in the cells throughout your body. It is a natural mineral that helps your immune system fight off bacteria when it's invading your body. And viruses as well, and it helps heal wounds. Also, vitamin C. Vitamin C, you can get it in vegetables like spinach, kale, kiwi, broccoli, Brussels sprouts. All of that is not patented. There's not a lot of money to be made. Now, without being tedious, I looked into NBC's largest advertisers. Their number one advertiser is Keytruda. Their seventh largest is Extron, and their eighth largest is Odazilla. Same with Fox News, same with all these other media corporations. They are sponsored by Big Pharma. Therefore, their motivation is they need billions in advertising revenue, which is their primary business model, is to sell advertisements. That's why they have the bombastic ads. They are demonizing hydroxychloroquine and zinc because it is going against their largest advertiser. It's about the money. It can't be patented. Bill Gates, I was reading today, is actually establishing a study to disprove the effectiveness of hydroxychloroquine, because if it works, nobody needs his vaccine. That's already been patented. No money for him, but more importantly, no population control. Now, the last point I'm going to make is I'm a capitalist. I believe in a free market system. On average, it takes $2 billion of investment and over 12 years to get a drug to market. The United States produces the majority of new drugs. I understand the investors need to make back money in order to keep investing in clinical trials and so on and so forth. And that if a drug that's primary purpose is to, let's say, prevent malaria, they find out it can help prevent heart attacks, like they did with aspirin some years ago, you have to get that approved by the FDA, which causes millions of more dollars in advertisement and getting the word out. I get all that. But at the same time, we need an alternative in the free market. A truly free market would have choice, more choice, where you could choose natural medicine, which would be more Japanese, more Eastern medicine versus Western medicine. And then you can make the decision for yourself as a consumer. Socialized medicine is not the way to go. You'll have more of a demand for medicine because it's free but less supply, because the producers will have to produce more. So the solution is to teach people more about modern medicine, to educate people on the history of all of this. So that's how Big Pharma, Bill Gates, and the mainstream media all are involved in this scam, and the reason why.